If there was a single person out there who thought that one list was enough to cover all the bizarre and horrible things that have happened in cartoons, then you were dead wrong. There's enough questionable material thrown into cartoons to have you laying on a psychiatrist's couch until the sun envelops the earth. And today we're going to be rummaging through even more backwards animated content. Hello most amazing top 10 family, I'm your host Jade Arena, and for today's list we're going to be counting down the top 10 disturbing cartoon moments part 2. If any of you at home are looking for some more most amazing top 10 content, check us out on Instagram and Facebook, and stick around until the end of this video because I'm going to be answering some questions from my Instagram inbox. If you want to hit me up with a question, hit me up through the gram. And without taking any longer, let's get into this list. Coming in number 10 we have Mr. Pickles Everything. Let's kick off this list with a cartoon that isn't for kids at all. If you haven't seen Mr. Pickles, it's one of the strangest cartoons that I've ever seen in my life. It's about a straight edge, by the book Christian family who has a dog who is literally the devil. He has satanic powers and the whole shebang. This show has so many disturbing cartoon moments I couldn't even settle on one. There's an episode where Mr. Pickles grinds up a man in a blender. There's an episode where Mr. Pickles rubs his butt along a burning pentagram in a field. One time he scalps someone, cut off their legs, and uses their body parts so he can impersonate them to make money. Not to mention that Mr. Pickles has a human slave in a gimp costume who lives in a basement underneath his doghouse, which is a massive satanic lair that looks like it was pulled right out of House of a Thousand Corpses. Coming at number 9 we have All Grown Up Being MATTSON. All Grown Up wasn't really the show I wanted to watch as a kid. The Rugrats will always be little tykes to me that somehow found a way to destroy Paris. But some people really like the grown-up versions of our favorite toddlers. In the episode Being MATTSON, the crew ends up on a camping trip and they meet someone who seems like he could be a new addition to the team. He's cool, he's funny, and he seems to know a lot about the history of the area. Well, it turns out the reason that this kid is so well informed is because he died hundreds of years ago, and the whole episode he's been a ghost. There's even a scene at the end of the episode that looks like it was pulled right out of The Ring, where the ghost of Being MATTSON has digitized himself into the home video that they were making on the camping trip, and he has some glowing red eyes. Demonic ghosts are kind of a change of pace for a show that's about teenage problems. I didn't have a lot of ghost problems growing up, but maybe my childhood was just boring. Coming in at number 8 we have Family Guy Stewie Watches a Man Die. Now when it comes to Family Guy, it's no shock that Stewie is out killing people. That's pretty much what the character loves to do most. For some reason that little baby has the heart of a mad scientist who wants to see people suffer, and in the episode where Stewie is at the psychiatrist we see how much he's willing to watch people suffer. The scene in question starts off with Stewie spilling out his guts to his shrink, telling him all his dirty details about his life. It's a side of Stewie that we have never seen before, and this is probably the motivation of letting this man die. He doesn't want anyone to know the real him. Well, his doc starts to have a heart attack and is begging Stewie to hand him his medication that is over on the counter. The medication that will save his life. And Stewie decides to let the old dude die in front of him so everything he just told him stays a secret. Coming in at number 7 we have Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Toon Shoe Dies. God, I love this movie. It's kind of a gray area on whether or not this belongs on a list of disturbing cartoon moments because this is a movie that famously mixes cartoons and people in what is remembered as one of the greatest movies of all time. If there are any viewers out there who haven't seen or heard of this movie, then you will be happy to know that this is the movie where Jessica Rabbit comes from, which more people probably know than the movie because every cosplayer with red hair has tried to pull off that look. Now, in a very dark moment of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Toon Shoe is taken by Judge Doom and placed into the dip, which is some sort of chemical mixture that the judge has been using to kill Toons permanently. Seeing the cute shoe get turned into goo is heartbreaking and a memory that I've been trying to bury for years. Coming at number 6 we have the Powerpuff Girls A Trip to the Future. This is a common theme that we have seen again and again. Time travel happens and a group of heroes gets to see what the world would be like if they never existed, and it's usually very rough. In the case of the Powerpuffs, the whole town is destroyed and everyone is basically a living corpse. This all peaks when Him shows up and reveals that he is ultra powerful and used the absence of the girls to turn the whole city into a wasteland, which probably means that Him is the most powerful villain of of them all. Coming in at number 5, we have Adventure Time, the Lich. There are several moments with the Lich throughout Adventure Time, and every time he shows up it can get quite terrifying, particularly when Finn and Jake head to the Citadel to find Finn's dad. Through this process, the Lich escapes the Citadel and gets into Finn's head. He tells him that he will sail through the galaxy until every light is snubbed out. That is maybe the scariest thing that I have ever heard. For a show that is mostly about a teenage boy coming of age and questions about reality, the Lich is one of the most terrifying television villains of all time. Coming in at number 4, we have Rick and Morty, Mr. Poopy Butthole Gets Shot. Mr. Poopy Butthole is by far the best named character in television history, maybe in the history of the world. He first makes his appearance in an episode where the Smith family is invaded by psychic parasites that take over their home and force them to go into lockdown. The parasites create crazy characters that the Smith family can't distinguish from the original family members because they implant memories into your mind. This makes a giant cast of characters that they all eventually have to kill. The episode ends with the Smith family sitting down at the dinner table after they have killed all the parasites, but Mr. Poopy Butthole joins them. Beth Smith thinks that he has to be a brain parasite and shoots him, but it turns out he's real. Watching him bleed out on the ground and nearly die while Beth pours herself a glass of wine trembling in fear is not the most wholesome moment of the show. Coming in at number 3, we have Princess Mononoke, the Possessed Boar. Studio Ghibli movies always do an amazing job of taking vibrant cartoon worlds and making them into heart-wrenching dramas, and Princess Mononoke is no exception. There is so much going on in this film, and one of the most disturbing parts is when the possessed boar comes into the picture. This thing is bigger than 2 grizzlies stacked on top of one another, and it's got tentacles flowing out of it like it was pulled out of an H.P. Lovecraft book. Not to mention this creepy beast constantly has blood spilling out of its mouth. I would have to say that I don't think that bacon is safe to eat. Coming at number 2, we have Batman Beyond, Chappelle's Overdose. Batman Beyond does a great job of revisiting old characters and bringing them into the futuristic world. In one episode, it would seem that there are some new hulked out thugs on the street, and it's discovered that they have been using Venom, a super steroid that is famously used by one of Batman's greatest villains, Bane. The new Bat goes to investigate this, and it turns out that Jackson Chappelle has been creating and dealing this new version of the drug that can be applied like a nicotine patch and give the user insane strength. This leads to a fight where Bats knock Chappelle onto a conveyor belt covered with patches, and the venom causes his body to contort and shift in pain. The episode ends with him being brain dead from an overdose. And coming into the number 1 spot, we have Metalocalypse Baby Eater. Once again, another cartoon that is most certainly not for kids, but absolutely amazing. Metalocalypse follows a metal band called Death Clock that is certainly the biggest thing in the world. In one episode, it's stated that the band has the 12th largest economy in the world. And because the show's about a metal band that is larger than life, you have to know that there are a lot of crazy metal antics that are constantly going on in the show. To try and narrow down which disturbing moment I wanted to put on this list was a little hard, but I've watched a lot of Metalocalypse, and there was one defining moment that stuck in my head because it made me cringe in fear super hard. There's an episode where the band recruits a mad cannibal to help them come up with some music. This cannibal is known for eating babies, and by the end of the episode the cannibal has escaped. And if you're someone like me who likes to stick around until the end of the credits, you will see a scene where he has a live baby cooing on a plate, and he is putting on a bib. He then picks up a fork and knife, and right before the utensils go through the baby, the episode ends. Honestly, I had forgotten about this scene before I had to do this list, so thank you guys for bringing back that memory. Alright everyone, that has been the list, and now it's time to answer some questions from the Instagram inbox. Abby Cooper wrote in and asked, Slender Man or Siren Head, who would win? Honestly, I don't know that much about Siren Head, so I'm just gonna go with Slender Man. Just because I know him better means the guy's doing more, which means I think he could be more lethal. Also, this dude wears a suit, so he dresses like a winner, and I think he can just spawn out of nowhere. Isn't Siren Head like weak against cartoon cats or something like that? As far as I know, Slender Man doesn't have any weaknesses. Kyle's for Hearts wrote in and asked Criminal Minds or Pirates of the Caribbean, and why? I'm gonna go with Pirates on this one. Even though half of the movies are kind of bad to mediocre, the ones that are good are absolutely legendary. Like Pirates of the Caribbean 2 blew my mind with that ending when I was a kid, and then the third one was one of the biggest letdowns I've ever seen, and I'm pretty sure that movie came out the same year as Spider-Man 3. That was really a bad year for the third movie in a franchise. But that being said, Criminal Minds is still very good. Juan San Uy wrote in and asked, has anyone mistook you for David Diggs? Cause fam fam does each time they see me watching MA Top 10. I have to say that yes, this has happened a bunch recently, but I have no idea who David Diggs is. Is he some new actor or something? I feel like someone told me I look like him once, but I'm too lazy to look him up, so you guys can keep saying that, I guess. Alright everyone, that has been our list. Thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, I would love it if you could like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell. Until next time, I've been your host, Jade Arena, and I guess keep watching disturbing cartoons. Yeah, I like them. Bye. Where the ghost of Bean Mattson has digitized. Because every crop, which more people probably know than the, which more people probably know than the movie, because every Mr. Poopy. Or Pirates of the Caribbean. Is it Pirates of the Caribbean or Bean? I think it's Bean. Bean, yeah. Is Beans a word? No.